The Calm Revolution, Mastering Stress in Work, Home, and Life. By Empower Audio. Part 1. Understanding Stress and Building the Foundation of Calm. The Hidden Cost of Modern Stress. Stress is the background hum of the modern world, so constant, most people don't even realize how much of their life it consumes. It's in the tightness in your chest before opening your inbox. It's in the endless mental to-do lists that never stop scrolling. It's in the late-night tension that whispers, "You should be doing more." For decades, society has mistaken stress for strength. Hustle culture taught us that exhaustion is evidence of ambition. But the truth is, chronic stress isn't a measure of success. It's a slow leak of life energy. It silently drains your focus, dulls creativity, weakens immunity, and erodes relationships. According to the American Institute of Stress, 77% of people regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress, and more than half report feeling burned out by work or family demands. But stress, in its purest form, isn't evil. It's an ancient biological tool designed to help us survive. When your ancestors faced a threat, a predator, a storm, an attack, the body's stress response gave them strength and speed. Adrenaline pumped through the bloodstream. Cortisol mobilized glucose for energy. The heart beat faster. The senses sharpened. This was nature's way of keeping the species alive. Today, the predators have changed. Instead of tigers, we face deadlines. Instead of physical danger, we battle psychological pressure, social comparison, financial fear, the constant expectation to keep up. The body doesn't know the difference. It responds to an angry email the same way it once responded to a charging animal. The problem is, the body was designed to enter stress briefly, then recover. We were never meant to live in permanent fight or flight. The physiology of stress. Let's look at what happens inside you when stress hits. The moment your brain detects a threat, real or imagined, the amygdala, your brain's alarm system, fires an alert. This triggers the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart races. Blood flow shifts from digestion to the limbs. The body prepares to fight, flee, or freeze. If the stress ends quickly, your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, restores balance. But if stress is constant, cortisol stays elevated. Over time, this disrupts everything: blood pressure, hormones, immunity, sleep, and even memory. Neuroscientists have found that chronic cortisol exposure shrinks the hippocampus, the part of the brain that regulates emotions and stores memories. It also weakens the prefrontal cortex, which handles decision-making and self-control. In short, long-term stress rewires your brain to react, not respond. And yet there's good news. The brain is plastic. With consistent practice, you can rewire it toward calm. Mindfulness, gratitude, deep breathing, and somatic grounding all activate the vagus nerve, your body's internal peace switch. This nerve runs from your brainstem to your organs, slowing heart rate and promoting relaxation when engaged. That means calm is not just a mindset. It's a measurable, trainable biological state. The 3 layers of stress mastery. To truly master stress, you must address it on 3 levels. Awareness, recognize the stress signal. Notice early cues: tension in your neck, irritability, racing thoughts. Awareness turns unconscious reaction into conscious response. Regulation, shift the state. Once you're aware, use grounding techniques to reset the nervous system. Slow breathing, gentle stretching, mindful walking, even splashing cold water on your face. Reconstruction, redesign the source. True mastery means changing the systems and beliefs that keep stress cycling: perfectionism, lack of boundaries, unhealthy work culture, or unrealistic self-expectations. Most people focus only on layer 2, quick fixes, without addressing the root causes. But you can't breathe your way out of chronic overcommitment. You must rebuild your foundation. The culture of busyness. Busyness has become a modern badge of honor. Ask someone how they are and you'll often hear, busy but good, as if being busy proves worthiness. Yet productivity and stress follow a curve. A little challenge sharpens focus. Too much crushes it. Psychologists call this the Yerkes-Dodson law. Performance increases with arousal up to a point, then declines sharply. That sweet spot is different for everyone. Elite performers, athletes, surgeons, pilots, all know that recovery is part of success. They rest strategically because they understand that growth happens during recovery, not exertion. The same applies to you. You cannot be creative, compassionate, or decisive when your nervous system is in survival mode. To thrive, you must schedule calm as deliberately as you schedule meetings. Reframing stress, from enemy to messenger. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stress isn't the enemy, it's information. Every wave of stress carries a message. Sometimes it says, you care deeply about this. Sometimes it says, something is out of alignment. When you learn to listen rather than resist, stress becomes guidance. In a study from the University of Wisconsin, researchers found that people who believed stress was harmful had a 43% higher mortality rate than those who viewed it as helpful. Same stress, different belief, radically different outcomes. The takeaway: your mindset toward stress changes your biology. When you see stress as energy for growth, your body interprets it that way. Heart rate rises, yes, but blood vessels stay relaxed, delivering oxygen efficiently. You perform better and recover faster. So next time pressure builds, try saying, "My body is giving me energy for what matters." That one thought turns panic into power. Building daily resilience. Calm is not built in crisis. It's built in micro moments. The small things you do daily, breathing deeply between tasks, pausing before reacting, drinking water before caffeine, are what rewire your baseline. Try this 3-minute daily ritual. Sit tall. Inhale slowly for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Feel your breath anchor you. Ask, what's one thing I can control right now? Commit to that small action. Do it morning, midday, and night. In 21 days, you'll start noticing your body returning to calm more quickly after stress. This is called nervous system conditioning. Energy as currency. Think of your energy like money. Every task, conversation, or worry spends from your account. At the start of each day, you have a finite balance. You can invest it in what aligns with your values or leak it through guilt, distraction, and overthinking. One of the simplest ways to reduce stress is to spend energy intentionally. Before saying yes, pause and ask, does this align with who I'm becoming, or am I saying yes out of fear or habit? Protecting energy isn't selfish, it's stewardship. When you guard your vitality, you can give more generously from overflow, not depletion. The physiology of recovery. Recovery is not laziness. It's biochemical restoration. When you sleep, your brain flushes toxins through the glymphatic system, a process that only activates in deep rest. Sleep also balances cortisol and growth hormone. Movement aids recovery too. A 20-minute walk lowers cortisol by up to 30%. Sunlight boosts serotonin, which later converts into melatonin for better sleep. Hydration regulates cortisol levels and improves focus. When you treat recovery as a daily ritual, not an afterthought, you create resilience that compounds. The power of slow. Slowness is the new superpower. The nervous system can only process so much at once. Studies show that multitasking can drop efficiency by up to 40% because your brain switches context rapidly, burning glucose and oxygen each time. Slowing down doesn't mean doing less, it means doing what matters with full presence. When you drive, just drive. When you eat, just eat. When you rest, actually rest. Presence reduces mental clutter, lowers cognitive load, and signals safety to the brain. The result: more clarity, more creativity, and less chaos. Emotional agility. Psychologist Susan David calls emotional agility the ability to be with your emotions in a way that aligns with your values. Most of us fight emotions. We label them as good or bad, trying to suppress the uncomfortable ones. But resisting emotion amplifies stress. When you allow feelings to exist without judgment, I feel anxious, instead of I shouldn't feel this, the nervous system relaxes. You create space for choice. Try this reflection. When I feel overwhelmed, it usually means. Complete the sentence, then add a small action that helps is. Over time, this builds emotional literacy and self-trust, two pillars of calm. The stress equation. Remember, stress equals demands resources. When demands exceed your internal or external resources, stress grows. To reduce it, you can lower the demands or increase the resources. Often, increasing resources, sleep, nutrition, connection, and perspective is more powerful. For instance, two people may face identical workloads, but the one who sleeps, moves, and practices gratitude experiences less distress. Why? Because their resources are higher. Instead of asking, how do I do less? Ask, how do I resource myself more fully? From reaction to response. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom. Stress shrinks that space, practice expands it. To lengthen that space, build the habit of pausing. The next time you're triggered, take one conscious breath before reacting. That single breath rewires the amygdala's reactivity. Over time, that pause becomes your superpower, the difference between reacting in anger and responding with wisdom. Integrating the foundation of calm. You now understand the truth about stress. It's a physiological process, not a personality flaw. The nervous system can be trained toward peace. Recovery and slowness are performance enhancers, not indulgences. Awareness, regulation, and reconstruction are the path to mastery. This is your foundation. From here, we'll take these tools into the most stressful arena for most adults, the workplace, where perfectionism, pace, and pressure collide. You'll learn how to protect your peace, lead with clarity, and work with purpose without losing your health. Part 2: Stress at Work, Burnout, Boundaries, and Purpose. The modern workplace pressure cooker. Work has become one of the most socially acceptable forms of stress addiction. In many offices and online spaces, stress is worn like a medal, evidence that you're committed, ambitious, driven. But behind that pride is exhaustion. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It manifests through three dimensions: overwhelming exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy. We often think burnout arrives suddenly. One day you simply hit the wall. But in truth, burnout builds slowly, disguised as commitment. It begins when rest feels like a luxury, when saying no feels like failure, when the weekends no longer restore you. The modern work structure wasn't designed for human nervous systems. Emails arrive at midnight. Notifications blur boundaries between office and home. Performance is measured by visibility instead of value. In this world, staying calm isn't passive, it's revolutionary. Understanding the neurobiology of work stress. When you walk into a meeting where tensions are high or deadlines loom, your body reacts as if you're in physical danger. The amygdala triggers fight or flight, flooding your system with cortisol and adrenaline. Blood flow redirects from your prefrontal cortex, the logic and empathy center, to your muscles. That's why under pressure we say things we regret, forget details, or feel mentally foggy. The body is ready to run, not reason. A study from the University of Toronto found that employees under chronic stress had reduced gray matter density in areas linked to emotional regulation. Essentially, long-term overwork rewires the brain toward reactivity and fatigue. Yet the same science shows recovery is possible. Practices like mindful breathing, strategic breaks, and purpose-driven focus rebuild neural resilience. You can train your brain to stay composed even in chaos. The myth of multitasking and the cost of constant connectivity. In today's world, many pride themselves on doing it all. The illusion of multitasking feels efficient, switching between emails, calls, and tasks. But research at Stanford University revealed that multitasking reduces efficiency by up to 40% and lowers IQ temporarily by 10 points, equivalent to missing a full night's sleep. Every time you switch tasks, your brain requires a reorientation period. Glucose and oxygen are spent to refocus. You don't lose time because you're incapable, you lose it because your brain is overtaxed. The most productive people in demanding industries follow the deep work principle. Focus on one task for 60-90 minutes without interruption. Then rest or switch completely for 10-15 minutes. This rhythm mirrors the brain's natural ultradian cycle, a wave of focus and fatigue that repeats every 90 minutes. When you align work with biology, your efficiency soars. In other words, the secret to getting more done is learning when to stop. The perfectionism trap. One of the biggest drivers of workplace stress is perfectionism, the belief that your worth is tied to flawless performance. Perfectionism isn't about high standards, it's about fear. Fear of failure, rejection, or being seen as inadequate. Psychologists Paul Hewitt and Gordon Flett describe 3 forms of perfectionism. Self-oriented, unrealistic expectations for yourself. Other-oriented, unrealistic expectations of others. Socially prescribed, the belief that others expect perfection from you. Perfectionism leads to paralysis. The brain becomes hypervigilant to mistakes, activating stress responses constantly. The antidote isn't to lower your standards, it's to redefine success as progress, not perfection. Ask yourself at the end of each day, did I move forward with integrity? That question replaces pressure with purpose. Boundaries, the invisible line between passion and burnout. Boundaries are the foundation of emotional sustainability. Without them, your energy becomes public property. Many high achievers struggle with boundaries because they equate availability with value. They say yes to everything and end up resentful or depleted. But boundaries aren't barriers. They're systems for preserving what's sacred, your health, creativity, and time. Neuroscience confirms that saying no activates discomfort in the brain's anterior cingulate cortex, the same area that processes social pain. That's why it feels hard to decline requests. But every time you practice saying no with compassion, you strengthen the neural circuits of self-respect. Boundaries can look like not checking email after 7 p.m., scheduling recovery breaks as firmly as meetings, saying I'd love to help, but I'm at capacity right now. Remember, every no to what drains you creates space for a bigger yes to what fuels you. Emotional regulation in high-stress moments. Staying calm under pressure isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about regulating state. When you feel triggered at work by criticism, conflict, or deadlines, pause for 90 seconds. Research by Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor shows that the physiological lifespan of an emotion is just 90 seconds, unless your mind replays the story. When you breathe and wait through that wave, your chemistry resets. Try this grounding technique. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 7. Roll your shoulders. Feel your feet on the ground. This activates the vagus nerve, releasing acetylcholine, which slows heart rate and restores calm. Afterward, return to the situation with curiosity instead of defensiveness. That's emotional maturity in action. Leadership and the energy you bring. Whether you manage a team or collaborate with colleagues, your nervous system influences others. Emotions are contagious through mirror neurons. cells in the brain that mimic the emotional states of those around us. Studies at UC Berkeley found that calm, compassionate leaders improved team performance by 20% and reduced turnover by 30%. Why? Because calm communicates safety. Safety fosters creativity and trust. When tension builds, ask yourself, what energy am I contributing to this room? If you center yourself first, you invite others to follow. Great leadership isn't about control, it's about coherence. Finding purpose in your work. Purpose transforms stress into fuel. When you believe your work matters, the brain interprets effort as meaningful challenge, not threat. A Gallup study across 150 countries found that employees with a clear sense of purpose were 63% less likely to experience burnout. Even small connections to meaning, a client helped, a product improved, a team supported, increase motivation. Write down your why in one sentence, then keep it visible. On difficult days, remind yourself who benefits from your work and how. When effort serves something bigger, resilience rises naturally. Managing work overload. Overload is often a symptom of disorganization, not incompetence. The human brain can only juggle about 7 pieces of information at once. Beyond that, stress skyrockets. Try this process. Brain dump. Write every task and worry on paper. Categorize. Label them as urgent, important, or optional. Prioritize. Do one deep work task first each morning. Use the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Everything else gets scheduled or delegated. When your brain sees order, it relaxes. That's why planners and systems reduce anxiety. They replace chaos with clarity. Rethinking success and productivity. Success isn't a finish line, it's a feeling of alignment. Too often, we measure success by busyness, income, or recognition. But success without peace is failure in disguise. Redefine productivity not as how much you do, but as how aligned your actions are with your purpose. A calm mind produces better work than a frantic one. Entrepreneurs like Arianna Huffington, who collapsed from exhaustion before founding Thrive Global, now preach the gospel of rest. Her research shows that companies promoting well-being outperform those that glorify overwork. Your nervous system is your most valuable business asset. Protect it like a CEO guards capital. Conflict and communication. Nothing drains energy faster than unresolved conflict. When communication breaks down, the brain's threat system activates. Your body literally treats disagreement as danger. To restore calm, replace reaction with reflection. Ask yourself, what am I actually trying to achieve here? Is my tone moving me toward or away from that goal? What emotion is driving this moment, fear, pride, or care? By regulating your tone and posture, you change the outcome. Calm communication disarms defensiveness and invites collaboration. Remember, it's not about winning the argument, it's about preserving connection. The gratitude advantage at work. Gratitude isn't just a soft skill, it's neuroscience. Studies from UC Davis show that regular gratitude journaling increases dopamine and serotonin production, enhancing focus and optimism. At work, gratitude transforms culture. Send a 2-line appreciation email once a week. Acknowledge small wins in meetings. Over time, this rewires attention from problems to progress. Gratitude and calm are twins. Both teach the nervous system to scan for safety instead of threat. The energy audit. Every month, perform a personal energy audit. List 3 columns: energizing, neutral, and draining tasks. For each draining item, ask, can I delegate it? Can I simplify it? Can I approach it differently? The goal is not to escape responsibility, but to design a rhythm that honors your biology. Sustainable success is built on energy management, not time management. Recovery and renewal. When you end your workday, end it completely. The brain needs closure to relax. Try a shutdown ritual. Write what you accomplished. List what can wait until tomorrow. Say aloud, work is done for today. This signals to the subconscious that it's safe to rest. Over time, this ritual separates your professional and personal identities, preventing emotional spillover. Work stress key takeaways. Burnout begins where purpose ends. Boundaries are compassion for your future self. Calm leadership influences others at a biological level. Deep focus and rest outperform multitasking every time. Gratitude and meaning transform effort into fulfillment. You now have the tools to bring clarity and composure to any professional environment. But stress doesn't end when you clock out. It often follows you home. In the next part, we'll explore how to cultivate calm within your most intimate ecosystem, your home, where emotions, family dynamics, and sensory overwhelm often collide. Part 3, stress at home, relationships, energy, and emotional safety. Home, the place we expect peace but often feel pressure. Home is supposed to be the soft place to land, the sanctuary where the body exhales and the world fades away. But for many people, home is where the deepest stress hides. It's where responsibilities multiply, where emotional labor lives unseen, and where we show the most unfiltered versions of ourselves. Work may drain your energy, but home often exposes what's been left unhealed. If you've ever walked in the door and immediately felt tension, or snapped at someone you love for something minor, you know this truth. Stress that isn't processed elsewhere lands here. The home environment mirrors the nervous system of the people who inhabit it. If your inner world is chaotic, your physical space often reflects it: cluttered surfaces, scattered energy, unfinished conversations. The good news: it works the other way too. When you cultivate inner calm, your environment shifts with you. The family nervous system. Every home has a frequency, an invisible rhythm shaped by the emotional patterns of its members. Scientists call this phenomenon co-regulation, the process by which human nervous systems synchronize. When one person is calm, others unconsciously slow their breathing to match. When one person is anxious, heart rates and cortisol levels rise in those nearby. Families literally breathe together. This explains why arguments can escalate even without words. When someone raises their tone, your body reacts before your brain has processed the meaning. You tense up, defend, mirror. It's biology, not bad behavior. The practice of emotional leadership in the home begins with regulating your own system. You cannot calm others by controlling them, only by embodying calm yourself. Here's a practice to try. When someone around you is upset, instead of rushing to fix it, slow your own breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Lower your voice. Within minutes, the collective energy will begin to settle. You've just led with your nervous system, not your words. This is co-regulation, quiet, powerful, and contagious. Emotional hygiene, clearing the invisible clutter. Most people understand physical hygiene, showering, brushing teeth, cleaning up. But few practice emotional hygiene, the regular clearing of built-up mental and relational debris. Emotional clutter at home looks like conversations avoided because they might be uncomfortable. Resentment stored like dust in corners. Old guilt or worry replaying in your head as you wash dishes. Psychologists have found that chronic emotional suppression is linked to higher blood pressure, weakened immunity, and reduced lifespan. Emotional repression is not peace, it's paralysis. Begin to clear this clutter by creating check-in moments. Once a week, ask yourself, what emotion have I been carrying most this week? Have I expressed it or buried it? What do I need to feel lighter? Even numbing an emotion reduces its physiological grip. As Brené Brown says, you can't address what you won't name. Your home can only feel calm when your emotional landscape is uncluttered. The mental load, the invisible weight of responsibility. Many households are full of love but out of balance. One partner often carries the invisible load, remembering appointments, planning meals, managing children's emotions, maintaining social ties. This cognitive labor is exhausting because it's never done. Sociologists call this the mental load, the unseen project management of life. It's one of the leading causes of domestic tension. To lighten it, transparency is key. Create a shared household map, list every recurring task, visible and invisible, from cleaning to emotional check-ins, from paying bills to organizing birthdays. Then redistribute with honesty, not resentment. Fairness isn't about equality of hours, it's about equality of energy. When responsibilities are shared consciously, the home shifts from hierarchy to partnership. The power of boundaries at home. Boundaries at home can feel awkward because love and limits often get tangled. But the most peaceful homes are built on clear expectations. Boundaries might look like setting quiet time after 9 p.m., creating a no phone at dinner rule, asking for 20 minutes of solitude after work before engaging in conversation. These are not acts of distance, they're acts of design. They structure energy flow in the home. When you model boundaries, you teach others that emotional self-respect is normal. Children raised in homes with healthy boundaries grow into adults who understand mutual respect instead of people-pleasing. Communication, speaking calmly under pressure. When stress builds, communication becomes reactive. The amygdala hijacks the conversation, logic disappears, empathy shrinks. To interrupt this, use the pause principle. Pause before replying. Take one full breath. Speak with intention, not impulse. Even one breath can shift tone and outcome. Also try soft startups, beginning with warmth instead of accusation. Instead of "you never help around here," try "I'm feeling overwhelmed and could use more support." This activates empathy instead of defensiveness. It's not about being perfect, it's about protecting connection. Couples who use this pattern have measurably lower cortisol during conflict, according to research at the University of California. Sensory design for calm. Your body experiences your home through the 5 senses: sound, sight, touch, smell, and temperature. Each one communicates safety or stress. Sound, constant noise, TV, phones, traffic, keeps the brain's threat system activated. Introduce silence, soft instrumental music, or nature sounds. Light, harsh lighting overstimulates the eyes. Use lamps, candles, or natural light during the day. The sun's spectrum signals the circadian rhythm to regulate sleep hormones. Scent, aromatherapy isn't indulgent, it's neuroscience. Scents like lavender, rose, and vetiver directly calm the amygdala. Touch, soft textures, blankets, rugs, plants, tell the body it's safe. The skin is covered in sensory receptors that constantly scan for comfort or threat. Temperature, a slightly cooler room at night, improves sleep quality by signaling melatonin release. Every sensory cue either tells your body to defend or relax. Be intentional. Turn your home into a nervous system ally. The rituals of rest. Sleep is emotional medicine, yet many treat it as optional. But when sleep drops below 7 hours consistently, cortisol rises and decision-making declines dramatically. To restore balance, create a wind-down ritual. Dim lights an hour before bed. Turn off screens. Sip chamomile, tulsi, or lemon balm tea. Reflect on one thing that went well today. When done nightly, your brain associates this ritual with safety. Over time, the transition into rest becomes effortless. Also remember, rest isn't only sleep. Rest is the absence of striving. It can be a slow walk, journaling, lying on the floor, or listening to music. Your nervous system only heals when it feels permission to pause. Nutrition and the nervous system. Food shapes mood. Blood sugar fluctuations mimic anxiety symptoms, shaky hands, irritability, racing thoughts. To stabilize energy, eat balanced meals with protein, healthy fats and fiber. Reduce caffeine after noon, it spikes cortisol. Stay hydrated. Even mild dehydration raises stress hormones by 25%. Add magnesium-rich foods, spinach, almonds, dark chocolate. Magnesium relaxes muscles and calms the nervous system. Think of food not just as fuel but as communication with your body. Every bite can say, "You're safe." The role of gratitude and joy in the home. Gratitude may sound simple, but it's a profound nervous system reset. When you focus on what's working, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals antidepressants target. Couples who express gratitude daily report stronger relationships and fewer arguments. Gratitude shifts focus from what's missing to what's meaningful. Try this nightly practice. Before sleep, share one thing you appreciated about the day or about each other. Over time, this rewires both hearts toward connection. And don't underestimate joy. Joy is not frivolous, it's resilience in disguise. Laughter, play, dancing in the kitchen, these are microdoses of regulation. They release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, restoring warmth and safety to the home. Emotional minimalism, simplifying the inner home. Emotional minimalism means letting go of mental clutter, old grudges, unrealistic expectations, or the constant guilt of not doing enough. Ask yourself, what thoughts take up the most space in my mind? Are they helping or harming my peace? What belief could I release to breathe more freely? You can't organize your living room if you never open the boxes inside it. The same is true emotionally. Simplify your inner world to create outer serenity. The practice of receiving. Many people give endlessly, care, attention, energy, but struggle to receive. Yet receiving love, rest, or help activates the same neural circuits as giving. If someone offers you a compliment, don't deflect it. Simply say thank you. If someone offers help, allow it. Receiving is not weakness, it's relational balance. The healthiest homes flow with reciprocity, giving and receiving like breath. Creating a family culture of calm. Every household can intentionally build its culture. Just as companies define values, families can too. Ask, what do we want our home to feel like? What values guide how we speak and rest? What rituals help us reconnect? Write them down, display them. Maybe it's kindness, patience, laughter, or honesty. These reminders anchor you during stress. When challenges arise, return to your values as a compass. A calm home isn't one without conflict. It's one where safety remains even when conflict appears. Home stress key takeaways. The home mirrors your inner world. Calm starts within. Co-regulation means your energy influences everyone around you. Emotional hygiene is essential. Clear what lingers. Sensory design, rituals, and nourishment support nervous system safety. Gratitude, joy, and values turn a house into a sanctuary. Home is the training ground for peace. The more you practice calm here, the more resilient you become everywhere else. Next, we'll step into the world beyond stress anywhere. Travel, uncertainty, transitions, and life's unpredictable storms. You'll learn how to carry calm with you, no matter what life brings. Part 4, Stress Anywhere. Traveling calm, adapting to change, and building lifelong resilience. Calm in motion. The ultimate test of peace isn't how calm you are when life is stable. It's how centered you remain when the ground shifts beneath you. The final stage of stress mastery is learning to carry calm with you anywhere. Airports, traffic, hospitals, deadlines, heartbreak, change. Most people wait for peace to return before they relax. But the truth is, peace begins inside, not outside. It's not the absence of chaos. It's the ability to stay steady in its presence. When you build this kind of calm, you become like water, fluid, adaptable, powerful. Water doesn't fight the container it's in, it fills it completely. That's what we're training here: adaptability, flexibility, and emotional endurance. The biology of adaptability. Let's revisit the nervous system one last time. When life throws surprises, the amygdala still fires its alarm. But with training, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, conscious brain, steps in faster to regulate the signal. This is called neuroresilience, the brain's ability to return to balance after stress. Like a muscle, it strengthens through repetition. Every time you breathe instead of panic, every time you pause instead of react, every time you ground instead of spiral, you are reprogramming your biology for calm. A study from Yale University found that individuals trained in cognitive reappraisal, reframing stressful events, showed reduced activation in the amygdala during pressure. They literally changed their brain's response to stress. That means calm isn't a personality trait. It's a skill, a neurological habit anyone can build. The portable calm toolkit. When you can't control the environment, you can always control your internal one. Here are practices you can use anywhere. 1. The 4-6 breath. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. This ratio signals the vagus nerve to slow the heart rate and release relaxation hormones. Use it in traffic, before speaking, or any time you feel overwhelmed. 2. The grounding sequence. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. This brings your awareness out of your thoughts and into your body, the present moment, where stress loses its grip. 3. Micro-movement. When you feel tension building, move your body for 2 minutes. Stretch your shoulders, walk briskly, rotate your neck. Movement breaks the freeze response and metabolizes stress hormones. 4. The mantra method. Create a phrase that recenters you. I can meet this moment with calm. Repeat it silently as a mental anchor. 5. Touchpoint calm. Hold your hand over your heart or gently squeeze your opposite wrist. Physical touch tells the nervous system, I'm here, I'm safe. These practices take less than a minute, yet they rewire your stress response when repeated over time. The stress of travel and transitions. Airports, traffic jams, or even moving to a new home. Transitions are stressful because they combine uncertainty, loss of control, and sensory overload. But there's a hidden gift in transitions. They remind you that everything is temporary. Nothing stays stuck forever. When you travel or face change, plan anchor points, familiar routines that bring continuity wherever you go. It could be morning meditation or journaling, carrying a calming scent like lavender oil, listening to the same playlist during flights. The brain loves predictability. Anchor points create safety through familiarity. They remind your nervous system, even when the scenery changes, I'm still me. Digital stress, managing the invisible overload. Modern life bombards us with information, texts, notifications, headlines, opinions. Each ping lights up dopamine and cortisol simultaneously. The excitement of reward, the tension of urgency. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. Over time, this trains the brain to stay in a constant loop of microstress. Try a digital reset. Turn off non-essential notifications. Designate one phone-free zone, maybe your bedroom or dining table. Set screen-free hours before bed and after waking. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that reducing social media use to 30 minutes a day significantly decreased loneliness and anxiety. Your phone is a tool, not a tether. Use it consciously. Nature as medicine. Humans are not built to live in artificial light and constant noise. The body needs rhythm, sunrise, sunset, movement, stillness. Ecopsychology shows that nature exposure resets the nervous system. A Japanese study on Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, found that 20 minutes in nature lowered cortisol by 16%, heart rate by 6%, and improved mood by 40%. You don't need a forest to feel this. Even a short walk, gardening, or looking at the sky activates your parasympathetic system. When you connect to nature, you remind your body of its origin, calm, cyclical, alive. Emotional endurance, the resilience muscle. Stress is not the enemy of growth. It's the gym where resilience is built. But you must balance stress with recovery, the same way an athlete alternates training and rest. To build emotional endurance, face manageable challenges. Take small risks, speak up in a meeting, try something new, or engage a difficult conversation with presence. Reflect afterward. What sensations arose? What helped you stay grounded? What drained you? Recover intentionally. After emotional effort, schedule a recovery ritual, a walk, journaling, or quiet time. Each cycle strengthens your capacity. You learn that stress is survivable, even useful. The power of mindset. Your perception of stress changes your body's response. Psychologist Kelly McGonigal's research revealed that people who view stress as energy for growth have healthier cardiovascular profiles than those who fear it. When you say, "I'm nervous," the body tenses. When you say, "I'm energized," the same sensation becomes motivation. The only difference is meaning. Try reframing physical symptoms of stress as signs of readiness. Sweaty palms, the body is preparing you for action. Fast heartbeat, extra oxygen for focus. Butterflies, energy awakening in your gut. Your mindset transforms threat into preparation. Building resilience through change. Change is the constant of life, yet it's also one of our greatest stressors. The brain craves predictability because unpredictability once meant danger. To adapt gracefully, practice psychological flexibility, the ability to hold discomfort while moving forward with purpose. Accept reality. Denial consumes energy. Acceptance restores clarity. Anchor in values. Ask, what matters most right now? Let that guide your next small action. Stay curious. Curiosity turns fear into learning. When you ask, what can this teach me? You re-engage your prefrontal cortex, calming the threat response. Resilience is not bouncing back to who you were. It's growing into who you're becoming. The circle of control. Anxiety often comes from trying to control what you can't. To restore calm, separate your concerns into two circles. Inner circle, what you can control: your choices, your words, your effort, your boundaries. Outer circle, what you can't: others' opinions, timing, outcomes. Spend 90% of your energy inside the inner circle. That's where power lives. The rest, release with grace. This practice rewires your nervous system for agency, the felt sense that you have influence over your experience. Agency is the antidote to helplessness. The role of movement. Movement is medicine for the mind. It burns off stress hormones and produces endorphins, serotonin, and brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, chemicals that heal neurons. In one Harvard study, 20 minutes of moderate exercise daily reduced anxiety risk by 30%. Yoga, dancing, walking, swimming all count. You don't have to train intensely, you just have to move intentionally. Movement reconnects you with the body, the one place stress can't lie. Minimalism for the mind. The modern world overwhelms not through one big stressor, but through 1,000 tiny ones. Emails, decisions, news, noise. The nervous system was never built for this volume of input. Simplify where you can. Declutter physical spaces weekly. Unsubscribe from unnecessary digital noise. Stop over-explaining yourself to people who don't listen. Every no you say to clutter is a yes to calm. Mental minimalism is not about emptiness, it's about clarity. Building a calm identity. True change lasts when it becomes identity, not effort. When you stop trying to stay calm and start seeing yourself as a calm person, your habits align naturally. Affirm your calm identity daily. I am composed under pressure. I am the grounding energy in every room I enter. Calm is my default, not my exception. Neuroscientists call this self-directed neuroplasticity. Your thoughts sculpt your brain. Each repetition strengthens the circuits of confidence and regulation. Identity is destiny. Choose one that reflects who you want to be. The Calm Life Blueprint. Let's bring it all together. The calm life is not a fantasy, it's a system. Morning. Begin with 3 deep breaths before checking your phone. Journal or set one grounding intention for the day. Eat slowly, sunlight first, caffeine second. Midday. Pause for one mindful break every 90 minutes. Move or stretch between tasks. Hydrate, breathe, and reset. Evening. Reflect on what went well. Write down tomorrow's top 3 tasks, then close the list. Disconnect from devices at least 45 minutes before bed. Weekly. Reconnect with nature. Spend time with uplifting people. Reflect on progress, not perfection. When you live this rhythm consistently, your body learns safety. Peace stops being an exception and becomes your baseline. The legacy of calm. Calm is contagious. Your regulated nervous system affects every person you meet, coworkers, friends, children, even strangers. Think of yourself as a lighthouse. The sea may rage, but the light doesn't fight the waves, it simply shines. When you embody calm, you guide others back to safety without saying a word. Your calm becomes your legacy, a quiet revolution in a world addicted to urgency. Final reflection. You've traveled through the science and soul of stress. You've learned to see it not as an enemy but as a messenger, not as weakness but as energy for growth. Remember this truth: calm isn't found, it's built. Every breath, every boundary, every small act of care is a brick in that foundation. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to thrive without chaos. Breathe deeply now. Feel the steadiness beneath everything that moves. That's your center, unshaken, unbreakable. Carry it with you, into work, into home, into every uncertain moment. You are the calm revolution. End of audiobook. The Calm Revolution: Mastering Stress in Work, Home, and Life. By Empower Audio. Thank you for listening. Please support us by subscribing, commenting, and sharing our audiobook. Thanks again. Empower Audiobook.